Welcome to RSA Conference 2023. We're here recording live from Broadcast Alley in Moscone West. This interview was sponsored by SumoLogic. I'm your host, Adrian Sanabri, and joining me for this interview is Rhett Dillingham, VP of Product of SumoLogic's Security Business Unit. Welcome, Rhett.
Thanks, Adrian. Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. It's a good topic we've got for today. We're going to talk about security automation as well as some other topics. And I think most people are aware of SumoLogic, but maybe we start there. We just give a quick synopsis of what you do and what you guys focus on.
Absolutely. We provide a platform for application operations and security operations for continuous intelligence. And here we're talking very much about the news we have around security operations capabilities introduced in the platform.
Okay. Are we allowed to say SIM?
Like we are allowed to say
that's a component. Obviously, it's not the only thing you do, but
yes,
I think that helps people bucket it in their mind a little bit better.
Yes, the naming in this space has been an adventure, I think, for many firms. And
I work in marketing, so I get it. I totally get it.
We still enjoy the SIM name. Our offering for the security operations use case set is termed Cloud SIM, and formalizing the SIM name and information, literally information management and event management, and what capabilities we offer there, built on our log analytics platform, and have joined that with the Cloud SOAR offering, as we call it, Cloud SIM, Cloud SOAR, and very much use those names. Although there's plenty to be had in naming evolution around here, and so we very much think about our platform as a security operations platform, joined with an observability capability platform for application operations.
And you're probably not aware of this, but I am a longtime customer, but in the free tier.
Okay.
Just for my home lab testing stuff, it's great for that.
Absolutely, because our orientation and history has been make it easy to bring logs in, get initial value, automate as much as possible of collection, and just get to initial value in time to value orientation. We have taken that approach with our SIM as well.
And because I'm already so familiar with it, if I run into a project where I need those kinds of services, like at a larger scale, that's going to be the first thing I go with, because from using the free tier for years, I'm already totally familiar with it. Like I know I can get up and running like that.
Yes, and this is part of being a cloud platform vendor in the security space, is try to make it self-service adoptable as much as possible so you can take initial steps, trial, feel out what use cases you want to apply, and then we build from there with you.
Yeah, so security automation has been a big topic for a while in security. Certainly everything's very dynamic. The threats that we're chasing, I think maybe 2 years ago, Jay Jacobs and Wade Baker did an analysis of what the top topics were at RSA for many, many years. Sure. And just the fact that they're constantly changing, I think is evidence of how challenging it is to stay on top of things. So automation seems natural to reach towards. We can't always get the talent that we need, and it's, just staffing, there's overhead associated with products and things like that. So just kind of tackling that people aspect of automation. I think there's two main things I want to dive into here, and first is obviously somebody has to create the automation in the first place. You have to make sure it works. Whether you're talking about SOAR or you're scripting something between APIs manually, there's a certain talent that you have to have for doing that, and making sure it works correctly. It's got to be monitored. If it breaks someday, somebody has to notice and go fix it, right? So how do you tackle that whole people component to it? And then the next thing after that I want to get to is automation itself is scary. Telling anything to automatically happen in production, can come with consequences.
Sure.
So let's tackle the people aspect first.
Sure. Let's just step up that stack that you enumerated there. So first of all, we have come at the space from a cloud platform vendor perspective, alleviating the security teams from having to operate their own stack. We take that operational ownership on. They can focus on value derivation from that rather than having to spend resources in operations. Second, take that into collection, where there's an opportunity to integrate cloud to cloud for data collection. We're just offloading that work from the customer in a way that's just alleviating them of that operational alerting and so forth. from their collection side onto us. And then they just have to be aware of what's going on in the source of that data. From there, you can get into, okay, I'm working through the end-to-end security operations workflow, from collection to detection to investigation and response. What can I automate in this change in this chain? And there tends to be an over-rotation towards the investigation response portion.
Yeah.
When we've put a lot of focus over the past few years into how do we automate as much as possible of investigation by clustering what we know better than anyone else from that information and event management perspective into what is a refined, true positive alert.
Yeah.
As much as possible
so
on behalf of that
you're talking about
person.
reducing my 30-tab workflow down to maybe 1 or 2.
Exactly. And then once you start into the further tabs that you're into investigation and response, where we want you to be able to easily compile information into that platform. Enrichment is the next sort of example. So this week, SumoLogic is announcing that we've integrated the workflow automation portion of our Cloud SOAR offering as part of our SIM. Mm-hmm. So we're providing a stepping stone short of full SOAR adoption for users to take a next step in automation to go from, yes, I've clustered entity relationships around the investigation work I'm doing in triage, and now I'm automating enrichment into that alert and refining it. And then from there, I can automate notifications. It's sort of the stepping stone of what automation should be, and investigation response to complete that workflow. Then from there, we can get into more complexity and what SOAR has classically addressed, and our Cloud SOAR very much does, in those other aspects of complex manual and automated workflows.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I remember the first time I used a SIM that just pulled in like reverse DNS for an IP address. Such a huge time saver, especially if I'm looking at a ton of data. Like I don't have to have this command line open, in another window, or some kind of DNS lookup tool in another window, and just, one at a time, trying to piece together this picture. Just all these little bits of data you have to go out and collect.
Yes.
And I think SOAR has been huge for that. And even without SOAR, like a lot of the modern tools will just automatically pull in that data, so you just mouse over or something like that.
Yes, and in a
lot of UX, important UX and UI design there too, right?
There is, and SOAR came to be defined in a certain way versus SIM in the technology stack for security operations, in a way that lumped a few technologies together and a few feature capabilities together in a way that has made it unapproachable for a certain segment of enterprise, and that jumping off point has been too difficult for many. Mm-hmm. And just having conversation this morning with a firm that has wrestled with when they're ready for that. Mm-hmm. And so I think as we think about security operations utilizing a platform, we want to make those incremental steps more granular and easier to adopt and utilize. And so that's hence back to our taking that workflow automation, making it easily and complementary available in our Cloud SIM, just to help further that along, regardless of the nomenclature of what is SIM, what is SOAR. It's a platform for security operations.
Right. And it occurs to me maybe the automation being scary thing isn't as much of an issue for you guys, since you're not changing security configurations and things like that. We're not changing production stuff. It's mostly you're ingesting event data, things like that, and the automation we're doing is on that. So there's not a whole, or correct me if I'm wrong, there's not a whole lot of danger to implementing automation in that work.
You're very much right. Another vector of the concern with adopting what has been considered SOAR technology has been the risk of over-automating and automating something beyond what the organization and the culture are ready for in automated response specifically. And really the way we think about that is you should be automating the work as much as possible for the efficiency of the resource challenge that you have in the staffing, training, and retention, and then stepping towards your first most common automated response types in that order, from enrichment into notifications to other systems, and then into response, just to make this more iterative, incremental in efficiency gain for the team.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how sick are you of people asking how you're going to implement ChatGPT and large language models into
Not at all.
some of this work?
Because
Not there yet?
no, we have. We have also announced that this week that we've integrated via our integrations framework for our SOAR into a ChatGPT provider of your choice. We have set up the out-of-box integration configuration for how you utilize the Q&A and chat capabilities, just to bring that the knowledge of the internet modeled via that technology into the platform, so the users who are variably familiar with the utility of that can gain value from it, and the iterative questioning and whatever the responses are that are being utilized is captured within the investigation and the incident response.
Do you have any quick examples of what some of those use cases are? Is it things like, tell me what protocols run on port 445, typically, and TCP 445?
Generalized, yes, in that sense, or we're collecting from a variety of sources in alerts or raw data, and once you're into, I need to apply that to a certain technology, I can go pull in what are the normal or like most common remediation methods for that technology, and just surface that as readily available, and in part alleviating the tab proliferation. This is in one part making sure that it's brought in to the user that might not be aware of the value of the information that's available via that technology, and the other is just compiling more into the platform so it's available in a single place without having to roam around across tools, which is another major theme in CISO land and security team land, is this tools consolidation.
And with my product hat on it, as I'm thinking about this, all you need is like a ChatGPT iframe or something like that, and they bring their own API key. You don't even have to feed the knowledge base.
Correct.
Because it's already in there. Like OpenAI has already done that work. Like you don't even have to feed it security-specific knowledge for that to work.
As long as you're comfortable with the value of the information coming from that corpus. When you decide to contribute to that corpus is up to you.
So do you put a disclaimer like about hallucination and things like that? Like when you use this, it could make things up, right?
That is an organizational decision. If you've already decided this is useful, and you're just now into the iteration on how do we make sure that the questions we ask and how we templatize those are most useful for the team, we're capturing those and enabling you to set that up to be automated and available to each user, rather than you have specialists who figured this out and the others aren't using it.
So we've got just a couple minutes left. So I just want to. This will be like a speed round. Just maybe hitting some high points of what kind of things are you hearing from CISOs that they're struggling with today, and what are they going to be struggling with in the next 2 to 3 years? And is it mostly people bringing large language models to train on internal data? Because that's just been kind of that's my prediction. So I'm just throwing that out there that companies are going to start building these models internally and probably shoving the wrong data into it.
Well, I think that's on the outer band of what's out? Just cool core. I think there are some who are getting into that realm, but core starts with the efficiency and efficacy of the team, and that gets back to the automation topic and just in effect tool consolidation. Is a common theme, especially as the macro environment may continue to shift economically. So we are very much in a platform vendor orientation, bringing together SIM with the technology of SOAR integrated, and now we've layered UEBA capabilities on top of that. Essentially delivering modeling for user and entity behavior analytics in a much more accessible, addressable addition to our security platform than it has been as a standalone tool. So this aggregation of capabilities from a security operations point of view is addressing a tool consolidation interest that continues to come up in that sense. The other theme, sort of short of the how are we applying modeling in the development of own corpus and sort of that realm, how are we applying security operations across the company versus in our application development sphere? So as a vendor of observability and security platform use, where those two use cases conjoin in various ways, I mean we are very much aggregating these technologies in a way that we're building a bridge between those two needs. So we're addressing the consolidation of alerts that come from the proliferation of tools in application security environments, and applying the clustering that we do and the technology like behavioral analytics that's immediately addressing, where the company security operations realm can help the application security operations realm with their needs. You can immediately apply first seen event modeling to your development lifecycle tools. These are very much similar needs, applying similar tech where applicable.
Yeah.
So that's theme two. So tool consolidation, bridging between security operations and company-wide versus application. And then we're into, how are we applying AI? So we've applied machine learning in various ways. We aggregate customer information on an anonymized way, and then model what is generating these clustered alerts that are aggregated across entities of what we see, and can indicate for triage value where we're more likely to find for you that you're going to see a true positive versus a false positive.
Right.
And work from there. Yep.
All right. Well, good stuff. Thank you, Rhett, so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, Adrian.
To find out more about SumoLogic, please visit securityweekly.com/SumoLogic RSAC. If you can't stick around for the rest of the live stream or you're catching this afterwards, head on over to securityweekly.com/RSAC to find all of the RSA conference coverage by Cyber Risk Alliance.
All right.
Thank you, Rhett.
Thank you, Adrian.